All right, emergency press conference. I haven't done one of these emergency press conferences in a long time, but tonight was a perfect night. You know why? Because other than me looking like a total cock in this hat, that's from like 2014, this pimple that looks like a goddamn planet, the New York Mets just got Pete Alonso. Just happened 10 minutes ago. It's a 1 year deal worth $30 million for Pete Alonso. And he's got an option in year two for another $25 million. So it's worth two for 54 if Alonso opts back in for year two. Well, where do I start? We'll start with the Mets. Obviously, it's a great move for the New York Mets. It doesn't take a genius to figure that out. You bring one of the premier power hitters in the league back on a 1 year deal, potentially two, depending on how he does, but most likely one for 30 million. And you got a guy that has enough money to I want to say, he shits out money, pisses money. When he goes to the bathroom, he pisses out money. So 30 million's nothing to this guy. The Mets did not want to sign Pete Alonso to a long-term contract, and they didn't. Nobody in the league wanted to sign Pete Alonso to a long-term contract. Obviously, the analytics don't, over the next 7 years, pan out well for Alonso because nobody wanted to give him the money. Now, I'm an analytical nerd, and Alonso's analytics aren't that bad, so I don't really understand. I mean, the asking price was probably ridiculous, and I'll get to that shortly. But the bottom line is nobody wanted to sign Pete Alonso to a long-term contract. He obviously had no market, so he came back to the New York Mets where I think he wanted to come back. The fans love him. The team loves him. And he loves it here at the end of the day. So it was a no-brainer, and the Mets needed him. From a standpoint of their roster, from last year to this year, their lineup's not that much different. Obviously, take that back one step. If you take Alonso off the Mets team, their lineup is not that much better than it was last year. Obviously, Juan Soto is a top 3-4 hitter in the league. And you replace Alonso, that's an upgrade. But that's not some, put you over the hump, best team in the league upgrade. Now, when you replace Juan Soto for JD Martinez, we're talking about a potential World Series changing upgrade. The Mets had to sign Alonso. And I'm going to try to keep this short and sweet. It was the obvious move. All Met fans around the nation are going to be happy right now, and they should. And we are. And good for Alonso, because, and now I'll go into the Alonso aspect of it. It totally made sense for Pete to do this deal. He had no market, and he was coming off his worst year as a pro. Never sign a long-term contract of your worst year. You'll never get what you want. So Alonso now can reset his market this year. And even if he doesn't have a great year, he has a chance to reset his market after year two. So Alonso now has two chances to put together a 45 and 120 season, and then he will get a long-term contract. And if he doesn't get the long-term contract, he'll get like a 4 for $1.60 contract. So the ball is in Alonso's court. Good for him. He deserves it. I'm not the biggest Alonso guy. The 230, 240 average drives me nuts, but he has accolades in the MLB. He is one of the few players in the league that consistently hit 35 plus to 40 plus home runs every single year. Not many guys do that. Alonso is like 1 of 10. So Mets, no brainer. Alonso kind of backed into a corner coming off his worst year. I think it was actually a smart business move for him. And now we'll get to Scott Boras, and then I'll wrap things up. Scott Boras is a greedy pig that for some reason needs all his clients to go to the final year of their contract. You can't sign 1 year before your contract comes to an end. He screwed Alonso, who was offered, I believe, 7 years, $165 million last year. Why would you not sign that? He had to play 1 more year because it worked so well for Juan Soto. Scott Boras is a greedy pig, and Alonso should fire him if he had any balls. Because what's he doing for him? He already killed him. And we've seen Boros botch a few clients now. I could go on and on and on about this. I'll make one more quick point. The MLB contracts are kind of changing. You're not going to give a long-term contract to anybody over the age of 30 years old unless your name is Aaron Judge. Nobody else is going to get a big, lucrative 10-year deal anymore over the age of 30. It hasn't worked. Just look at the last few guys to sign one. Trey Turner, Xander Bogaerts. The Mike Trout contract is a disaster. There's a lot of bad contracts in the MLB right now. Wants Javi Baez might not even make the roster in Detroit. Chris Bryant. You don't sign guys over 30 to lucrative deals anymore. It's more of like the 4-year, $150 million type deal now. But to not get into the weeds too much right now and just make this an emergency 5-minute press conference, Mets sign Alonso. Obvious for the Mets. They had to do it. They needed one more piece in that lineup. I still don't know if they're better than Atlanta, Philly, or San Diego. They're definitely not better than the Dodgers. There's 4 teams in the NL that are very, very good, and any of the Dodgers. I still think it ranks like that. My non-biased opinion is the Mets are better than the Padres and the Braves. Braves are a little closer. That's really it. Great move for the Mets. Business savvy move by Pete, who should not have signed a deal coming off his worst season. And Scott Boras is a greedy, disgusting, deadbeat pig. That's it. And that wraps us up.